Hi, I'm Chris Duncan, County Extension Agent for Family and Consumer Sciences here in Oldham County, Kentucky. And today we're going to be cooking with those wonderful spring and early summer vegetables. We have 3 recipes that we'll be using today. The first one is cabbage noodle casserole. Then we're going to make a broccoli pizza, and we're going to finish up the day with a kale and potato soup. Hope you'll enjoy each one. Cabbage noodle casserole is an easy, economical recipe, and cabbage is easy to store. It's relatively inexpensive. There's over 100 varieties of cabbage, but here in Kentucky we have 3 popular ones. We have a savory cabbage, and that's the one that has the crinkly texture. It has a milder flavor. Then there's the beautiful purple cabbage that's just gorgeous in coleslaw. And then we have our regular cabbage that we'll be using today. Cabbage, when you buy it, don't wash it until you're ready to use it, and then remove the outer leaves and the core, or especially if you're going to start making slaw. But we're using some chopped cabbage today, and we need 6 cups of it. Cabbage is easy to cut, and we're going to cut our cabbage into little 1-inch pieces. I already cut 4 cups. We just need 2 more cups of cabbage, and we'll be ready to go. We're also cooking bacon. You can use turkey bacon, or you can use a low sodium bacon that's starting to be available in our grocery store. So we've got our prep work almost ready. This is a good recipe to involve kids with, help them have you measure ingredients. They can help you measure the salt and the other ingredients in the recipe. The older children can help you cut some of the vegetables. And then you need to cook your noodles. We're using egg noodles today, and we're using a whole grain noodle. You know, our diet should contain about half of whole grain products. Half of our grain should be whole wheat. So let me measure the rest of our cabbage. All right, I've got 4 cups, and that's 5, and this is number 6. Now I'm going to set this out of the way. Ms. Sherry, if you don't mind, thank you. And let's get started. So in our skillet, we have our bacon, and this is a low sodium bacon. We could use turkey bacon too, but this is low sodium, and it's about 65% low sodium, or less sodium than regular bacon. It's always kind of neat to, if your bacon starts to curl, prick it with a little bit of, prick it a little bit with a fork, and we'll get it going. The good thing about this low sodium bacon, it only cooks about 2 minutes on each side, so it doesn't take long to cook our bacon. I think I like mine crispy. It's getting, then as soon as we have our bacon finished, to let Miss Sherry finish up cooking the bacon, and we're going to talk about our other ingredients. We have a tablespoon of cooking oil. We have 2 teaspoons of sugar. We're going to be using a teaspoon of salt, a half a teaspoon of pepper, and then, as I said, we're using 6 cups of cabbage. And cabbage is low in calories too. That's one thing I'm always watching my weight. So we want to remember that cabbage has only 15 calories for a half a cup. So, and it contains a lot of vitamin C, fiber, folate, calcium, and iron. So cabbage is just loaded with wonderful things. It also has some vitamin K, which also helps prevent blood clotting. It does smell. That's a little bit of downside to our cabbage. Some people do not like the smell of the cabbage. And, ooh, the bacon's looking good, Miss Sherry. We're about ready to turn it off, and we're going to take the bacon out of our pan, but we're going to use the bacon drippings. So, I need to show you our noodles. We've already cooked our noodles, and we're using 3 cups of whole grain noodles. Plus, we're going to use a cup of reduced sour cream, and then we need paprika. We need a teaspoon of paprika. Now, I like the smoked paprika. It's a little bit more expensive, but you can use regular paprika too. So the smoked paprika adds a little bit more smell and taste to our recipe. So we're going to use the smoked today. So let's get started. We have our large skillet, which we've cooked our bacon. We can put the bacon right there. We're going to add our oil. Ooh, I've already got it measured. And I've got, I need to turn my burner back on. Whoops. There we go. And then I need to remember to turn it down. There we go. And that's our cooking oil. And then we want to add our sugar and our salt. And get that going. And the pepper goes in here too. Get all these flavors going. And then we are going to add our cabbage. So it's coming into a nice seasoning. Now, if you need to reduce your salt, you don't have to use a whole teaspoon of salt. In fact, you could probably leave the salt out, especially if you just use regular bacon. If you don't use a low sodium bacon and you're just using regular bacon. Now we're just going to get our cabbage wilting, and needs to cook about 7 to 10 minutes, and that doesn't take long. And we already have our oven preheating. Our oven is already on 325 degrees. It will take 30 minutes to bake once we add our other ingredients. When we come back in a few minutes, we'll add our noodles.
Information and stories about people you know. You're watching Channel 25, OCTV, Community Television for Oldham County.
Hello, I'm Michael, the horticulture assistant at the Oldham County Cooperative Extension Service. Today we're going to work on how we go from growing our own plants to actually cooking our product from the garden. So we'll start now with sowing some seed for the garden. And generally, we start with using a flat or a tray. You can purchase these anywhere, I'm sure. And we use a potting media, a potting mix, a really good one. This one is composed primarily of peat moss. The white is perlite, and there is vermiculite in the soil too. This gives it a nice fluffy texture to it, and it works well with sowing the seedlings, with sowing the seed. We just fill the tray nice and full all the way to the top. Fill up all the cells. We want to make sure that the air pockets are out of there so that the soil will go all the way to the bottom. So we can tap it a little bit, get rid of the excess. The next step will be to water the tray in. Set it here on the bench, and then we use our water and just water it in like so. Real thoroughly. You want it to really drain all the way down, all the way through, wet all the soil. Okay, and once it feels really heavy, then we'll bring it up to our table, wherever you have set this up at your place. If you were doing this we're lucky here because we're in a greenhouse. We actually have the advantage of all the sunlight passing through, into the greenhouse. Where if you were doing this in your home, you would use a lighting fixture, which is designed to germinate the seedlings in. And we also have bottom heat or heat underneath the trays on the benches. This allows to keep the seed warm and the soil warm and encourage the germination. This you can purchase heating pads for germinating seeds along with the lighting system to germinate your seeds in the home. Today we're working on cabbage. We're going to sow some cabbage seed for our cabbage soup that we'll be making in the future. And the simple process is now we make some slight indentations with our fingers to allow the seed to kind of center itself in the little flats, little cells of the flat. This flat has 48 positions. We don't need to sow only one thing is flat. Generally a garden doesn't need 48 cabbages in it, so we'll sow a portion of them. Most seed comes in the packages. It tells you on the back of it how to germinate, how long it takes to germinate, how deep to plant it, and for your success. They're also dated so that you know whether you're getting old seed or you're at the current date and the seed will germinate for you. Now that we've opened the package, and we'll again just gradually shake these out. If you pinch the package a little bit, it'll allow the seed to kind of roll up in a single row, and then we can individualize, put one or two seed in each cell by knocking them off slowly. The seed are small and dark and kind of hard to see, so remember where you've been as you're sowing them. You can do this by pouring some in your hand and individually picking up the seeds and dropping them one at a time in the cells. That way you'll be sure to just put one individual seed in each cell. Now once they're all in the cells that you want them to sow in, you could sow part of it in another broccoli or some other seed in there. We then want to cover the seed with a little bit of soil. So we're going to go back over to the soil here, and then I'll just sprinkle it. All I want to do is just barely cover the seed that are in there, so I'll sprinkle it on top. You can do this with almost any vegetable seed, including tomatoes, peppers, of course broccoli. And then we'll give it a light wetting to wet down the new dirt on top, new soil mix. Doesn't take much, just enough to wet it down. Now we're finished with the sowing of the seed. We just have to put it on a heating mat and let it germinate. We're back again with the flat of the plants that have germinated. This is the cabbage, to show you that these, how tall they get. And when I told you when we shook the seed into the package, sometimes you would get multiple seedlings in each pack. So what you can do at this point is remove the extra seedling so that you can have just one seedling per cell. And you always pick the one that's the healthiest. And so we'll go through here. And then sometimes you'll end up with no seed germinating. So if you have these extra plants, then you can poke a hole down in there and stuff the new one down in there and then plant it back, and that way it'd fill your entire flat out. So this is not ready yet to go to the garden. These are still way too small, but as you can see, they've germinated, and we've got our new leaves coming out really good. So good, strong, healthy plants.
You should totally talk to them. No, I don't know though. I'm scared. I mean, but you're so... Life is passing by so fast.
Do you know that you're in my lane? No, not at all. Are you not paying attention? Are you texting? I was just checking in with my mom. I was telling her that I thought we'd be home by 6. It's okay. There's enough time. Just pay attention. I'm not even halfway through my text. There's no way. I'm not even going to look up. My babies are in the car. You have to pay attention. It's just supposed to be a quick text. I'm so sorry.
All right, we're ready to add our noodles. That's 3 cups of noodles that we cooked in advance. Doesn't take long to cook noodles. Just kind of mix them around. Now we only have a couple of more things to add, actually 3 more things to add. We want to spoon in our sour cream, and this is 1 cup of reduced fat sour cream, and I would use fat-free sour cream. It would be fine to use, or if you're not watching your calories, you can use regular sour cream. Fold that in. Then we're going to sprinkle in our bacon that we've crumbled up. And it didn't take long to cook the bacon. Nicely. Sprinkle the bacon in. And the paprika. Oh, we'll wait and do that once it's in the dish. So let's put it in we've already sprayed our baking dish. This is a 2-quart baking dish or 2.5-quart baking dish. It's quite attractive. It's nice and colorful. I like the smell of cabbage too, so it's reminds me of my growing up years. We ate a lot of cabbage when we were little, and good old cabbage and potatoes. And this makes an easy dish to bake. We're going to add our smoked paprika, and this really puts the zing in it and adds that colorful attractive element. All right, what do you think? I think it looks pretty good. All right, now we're gonna bake it. We're gonna take a little break and we'll be right back.
Chewing on a piece of grass, walking down the road. Tell me, how long you gonna stay here, Joe?
Hi, I'm Sherry Ragsdale, and I'm the Expanded Food and Nutrition Assistant in Oldham County, Kentucky. And today I'm going to show you how to make a broccoli pizza. The first thing I want to talk to you about is broccoli a little bit. Broccoli's been around for over 2,000 years. The name broccoli comes from the Latin word bractum, which means branch or aim. Americans have been growing broccoli for only about 200 years. Broccoli is sometimes called the super vegetable because you can get lots of vitamins and minerals, potassium, folate, iron, calcium, and fiber from broccoli. Okay, and choose broccoli that is dark green in color. I have seen broccoli that is darker than this, but that's what you want to choose. This is the broccoli flowerets. Okay, you want to store broccoli unwashed in open plastic bags and place in the crisper drawer of your refrigerator. Okay, to grow broccoli, you buy transplants locally or produce your own, and set out by April 1st to April 15th or by August 1st for a fall crop. Okay, we're going to get started on the broccoli pizza, and you can get a pre-prepared broccoli crust, or you can, whole wheat crust, or you can make your own. And I have bought a prepared crust in a bag. And the first thing you want to do is brush your crust with olive oil, which I've already done. Then the next thing you do, our ingredients call for 1 1/2 cups of shredded Monterey Jack cheese. So I'm going to just do about 3/4 of a cup, because you only want to do about half of it for the crust. Okay, after we put the cheese on our prepared crust, we saute our vegetables. So you have a cup of broccoli, and you're sauteing it in garlic. There's 2 cloves of garlic, which I've already pressed. And then you have 2 tablespoons of the Italian seasoning. You just want to kind of mix that around to get your flavors going. And you can use a clove of garlic, or you can get the minced garlic, you know, that's in the produce department at your grocery store. And this is a garlic press, and I peeled the garlic clove and pressed it for 2 of them. Then next you want to put your cup of broccoli in. Then you have your zucchini that's thinly sliced. Got it. And you have your half sliced red pepper. Give it some color. And you have your medium onion that's sliced. And you could use, I use just a plain sweet onion, but you could use a red onion for more color if you like. But I chose the sweet onion because it's a little less flavor, or a little less strong. Then you want to add your tomato. thinly sliced tomato. And you could use cherry tomatoes or the little grape tomatoes if you want to. Then you saute this for about 5 minutes. You want the vegetables to stay somewhat crisp, but this is just to get the flavor for the pizza. And I guess you probably could put yellow squash in there if you wanted to, or a yellow pepper or a green pepper, but I think the red gives it a nice color. And when you do your cheese for your crust, you also could, this is just regular cheese, but you could use a low fat or fat-free, and it's Monterey Jack cheese. And you just stir that around so they'll get the seasoning on them. See how colorful the dish is? It does smell good. I think that I smell the Italian seasoning for sure. Okay, once they're cooked, which they're about done now, you just want to lightly, you're just going to keep them crisp. Then you turn your skillet off, and then you spoon the vegetables on the pizza. Now I have seen a vegetable pizza before that really wasn't sauteed. It was just the raw vegetables. But this kind of gives them a little bit more seasoning. And oops. And once you get your vegetables on there, you put the remainder of your cheese on. And it only bakes for about 5 minutes. And the oven has been preheated to 450. And there we go. And you get the half of your cheese on there. And you just sprinkle that across the top. And you could, I guess, instead of Monterey Jack, you can maybe do like an Italian blend or even mozzarella if you wanted to, just to give it something a little different. And I will put this in the oven. When we come back, we'll be making kale potato soup.
They said I couldn't dream. Called me a piece of trash and swore that's all I'd ever be. Said a bottle couldn't see the ocean. Give up.
Go back to the dumpster. But I didn't listen. I made my way. And now, I am what I've always wanted to be.
We're going to make some kale potato soup now. Kale has really been gaining popularity all across the country. Kale comes in bouquets, and it's a lovely kind of frilly vegetable. You don't want to wash it until you're ready to use it, but I've already chopped 4 cups of kale. When you chop kale, you need to remove the thick stem when you're preparing it for other things too. Remove the thick part of the stem. You don't have to remove it all, but remove most of it. Then, of course, chop it into small bites, and it's very easy to work with. All right, now, with our kale, we're gonna heat our skillet and add 4 teaspoons of olive oil. Then we're going to add our onions. We've got our onions. This is 1 whole onion that's already chopped up. Then we're going to add about 1/2 pound of chicken breast. Now you can use canned chicken, or you can use, go ahead and cook a chicken breast. The chicken breast that you cook will have less sodium. Canned chicken does have a lot of sodium. So we'll get started here, get our onions sauteed. Oh, it's starting to sizzle already. So we'll have that going. Get those onions just cooking a little bit in our olive oil. And then we're ready to add our garlic. Now we're using just 3 cloves of garlic that I've already, I like to use my dried garlic. I do have a little tool here that's kind of neat. When you, if you have trouble with garlic, a lot of people smash it, but you can buy these little tools where you can remove the skin very easily by just rolling it. I have to get some things out of the way here, but just rolling it, you can remove the skin off the garlic and then put it in a garlic press. Or you can chop it the old-fashioned way. All right, you hear it crunching, then you know it's starting to loosen. And that's the way we can take that skin off really easily. Some people have trouble getting that off. And then remove any discoloration. All right, well, our onions are really starting to cook now. So we're ready to add our chicken broth. Now, the recipe calls for 42, I'm sorry. Oh, I didn't get the garlic in, thank you. Let me get the garlic in there. Ooh, I love the smell of cooking, of when you cook garlic and onions. I just love that smell. All right, now we're ready to add 48 ounces of chicken broth. Now you can also use chicken stock if you want to reduce the sodium, but they sell it now in 32 ounces. So we had to use a whole box and then add another half box. So that is 32 ounces, and we're going to bring it up to 48 ounces. All right, so get our chicken stock nice, and or chicken broth. You can they're interchangeable. You can use chicken stock or chicken broth. We'll get that going a little, just turn our heat up just a teensy bit. All right, and then we're going to let that simmer for a few minutes. I could put the lid on it for just a minute, and I'll tell you about our other ingredients. We have 6 red potatoes that I've already chopped up. I have a 1/2 cup of carrots, which is really just 1 carrot. So 1 carrot will make one fairly nice sized carrot will make a 1/2 cup. And carrots are so wonderful for us. But a little bit more about kale in Kentucky. Kale is just a really nice vegetable that you can add to your soups or to salads, and it's a spring vegetable, but it's kind of interesting. I've noticed in the garden that it will last even when it gets cold, even sometimes after it frosts, the kale will still be good. And it was kind of interesting in our garden here at the Extension office. The kale came back up after a pretty hard winter. So it is quite a vegetable that can survive quite a bit. So we'll have our kale cooking here in just a minute. Now we're going to get our broth nice and hot, and then we're going to add our carrots and potatoes. We'll be back in just a minute.
You're looking at real heroes. These residents of Oldham County's Curry's Fork watershed are helping in the fight to improve water quality in Curry's Fork Creek. They reduced mowing along the creek bank and added plants, bushes, and trees to create a vegetated buffer. This buffer will filter pollution that runs off streets and yards when it rains, provide better habitat for wildlife, and will help control erosion by holding the soil on the bank. You can be a hero too by doing the things that stop pollution and sediment from going into Curry's Fork Creek and improving water quality for everyone now and in the future.
For more information on how to keep our watershed clean, go to www.oldhamcountyky.gov and click on Curry's Fork Watershed under Community Links.
Well, welcome back. We're now ready to add our carrots to our broth mixture, and we've got our potatoes that are already chopped up, and this is again a nice way to get older children involved with the cooking by having them help you chop things. Just be sure that they have been instructed on keeping the knife blade in a safe position, and know some safety tips about handling knives. If I wanted to give the knife to Sherry, the rule is to lay the knife down and then she would pick it up. So we never just hand her the knife, and because she might stick her arm out and I might poke her. We're also going to add our chicken in just a minute, and then our kale and our pepper. Almost forgot, can't forget the pepper. The pepper adds the zing. So we'll have this all ready to go. And I love the smell and the flavor of that onion and garlic and potatoes cooking. And in just a minute, we'll add the chicken, the kale, and the pepper.
Thank you for my mom. It was very, I don't know what I'd do without her. So thank you.
I just heard Henry say that, and it's really emotional for me, because I feel so lucky to have survived that day and to have the rest of this life, to be able to be a mom, and I'm very thankful.
Well, now we're ready to add our chicken. And again, you can use canned chicken, or of course, if you use fresh chicken breast that you've already cooked, it will have lower sodium. And then we add our beautiful kale. You know, over in Scotland, kale is so popular that people even have a term that they say, come to kale. So once you start eating kale, you will enjoy it. And if you haven't had it, you'll discover that it is a wonderful treat. Yes, and now we're ready to add, let me get it out, stir just a little bit more, and then we'll be ready to add our pepper. Get these out of the way. Isn't that attractive already? I love those colors, the orange and the green. Oh, he's trying to escape. There we go. Now let's sprinkle in our pepper. And this just needs to cook. Let me check a minute. Just cook for about 15 minutes. So it's going to simmer. And then this is so good as far as calories. It only has 270 calories, 5 grams of fat, and just 43 grams of sodium. And the fiber, which is always good for us, is 5 grams. So this will get hot again, and in just a minute we'll be back and show you all our finished products.
Do you know that you're in my lane? No, not at all. Are you not paying attention? Are you texting? I was just checking in with my mom. I was telling her that I thought we'd be home by 6. It's okay. There's enough time. Just pay attention. I'm not even halfway through my text. There's no way. I'm not even going to look up. My babies are in the car. You have to pay attention. It's just supposed to be a quick text. I'm so sorry.
Well, Sherry and I now are ready to eat. Our kale potato soup is ready. It's luscious, it's nice and warm and ready to go. And gosh, we could serve this maybe with a little piece of cornbread or something, or crackers, and it makes a great lunch or even a nice supper. Our broccoli pizza is beautiful. I just love those colors and the difference in the textures, and oh, the smell. If you could only smell with the television, I think that's coming up in the future, but we are just really enjoying the smell of that Italian seasoning in that broccoli pizza. And then our cabbage noodle casserole is all ready to go. Oh, and we could serve that maybe just with a little bit of pork chop, or you could have a salad. It doesn't take a lot, and it doesn't take a lot of time, energy, or expense. So all these recipes are available through your cooperative extension. We have a website, that is available through our county. The Oldham County Extension Office website is available, and we have lots of resources. So anytime you have a question about nutrition or cooking not only vegetables but other things, we have the resources of the University of Kentucky available for all the residents, not only Oldham County, but for everyone in our great state. We hope you've enjoyed this, and give us a call or send us an email and let us know what you think. And we hope we'll see you again this summer, perhaps at the farmers market. And we'll be doing some other programs for you in the very near future. Hope you have a happy day. Take care. Bye-bye.